Today we're looking at this Astrhori 10mm f8. It's the Mark II version. I thought they were sending me the first version, which would have been a very interesting, awkward video. Now there's a couple of tricks up the sleeve of this little cheapo number that make it worth looking at. So yeah, let's crack on. So we got a manual, guarantee, and silica gel, and this dinky little thing itself. Now I've actually already weighed it, and without the caps, so in this form with the UV filter, it's a whole 69 grams. Interesting. Now because it's so dinky, I'm just going to put this cap back on. Focal length 15mm full frame equivalent, but 180 degrees field of view, as you'd have seen in the intro. There's only 5 elements in 4 groups. Of course, it's a fixed f8 aperture. Interestingly, we've got, and it's got quite a throw, manual focusing. So from infinity, which is where it will live at most of the time, I guess, to 30 centimeters. Now in the intro, a couple of bits that we used, it was a tiny bit off. Peaking is tricky when it's f8 because everything seems to be in focus, so if you're messing around at this end, can get a bit funky. Now this is actually quite heavy. It's smooth but very, very heavy. So there's that. You've got this UV filter which screws on, 55mm filter size, so that is a great bonus. So yeah, it's basically all about the fact you can fit filters, and really cool that it came with a filter and you can change the focusing. Let's see how we get on then. After a few weeks, the focusing still feels a bit heavy, and even with focus peaking, it's not that easy to take advantage of the whole focus range. However, most of the time I prefer setting it to infinity and just playing with that crazy field of view. The filter thread does its job, and the included UV is a nice touch at this price point. So other than the heavy focusing, this tiny thing is actually well built, so fair play. Sharpness is surprisingly good across the frame. Naturally f8 helps a lot, but yeah, color rendering, contrast, underwhelming as I expected. So, you know, the image quality is far from forgiving. You'd expect distortion to be insane considering the 180 field of view, wouldn't you? And the cheap price, but it's not always that wild if you get it just right. I expected it to be a bit worse than it is, at least. You know, it's fisheye, but not quite as extreme as I think a fisheye should be. Do you know what I mean? I am glad you can shoot at 30 centimeters, even though f8 does you no favors. IQ at 30 centimeters and thereabouts is, you know, pretty usable for a bit of fun. Ideally, you take this out on a sunnier day, get those blue skies, pop the colors in post. But, you know, here we are testing with what we're being dealt with this very weird UK springtime. The lens comes in at a whole £79 retail. So the burning question is it worth it? Well, it's up against the Pergear 10mm that we looked at before. And I'd say it's the best of a pretty limited and limiting bunch. Of course, it comes with the funky, let's say, image quality, but thanks to the sharpness and the power of RAW, in good light, it's a fun little lens. Focusing isn't a great experience, as we said. The inclusion of a filter thread is welcomed. You know, just be aware there are more fisheye lenses out there if you really want to go with the extreme effects. While we're at it, make sure you check out Matt Jacobs' video about the first version of this lens, where he shows off some really rather good sample shots and effectively vlogs with it too. Tell him I sent you. Yeah, until next time, take it easy.